All right, guys. Hello, hello. Welcome to our weekly Thursday night team call. So last week we hopped on Walla's call. I hope I say his name right. I keep trying to listen to other people say it, which was great. I'm like really excited to do that program. I'm not nervous because I've done P90X and I've done Insanity and I've done Asylum and I've done P90X2, and actually I never finished P90X2 because that is a hard program. I would like to tackle that again. Um, but I've done them all. So I know, like with P90X and with Insanity, I know that I can just pull back if any of our programs, right? And we know that we can just pull back. Even though there isn't a modifier, we've been doing this long enough that we know how to modify, right? And usually when there's a program like that, um, I'll try to show some modified moves, like in our challenge group. Like I'll take a move that's really hard and I'll go, okay, this is how I do this one. But I think it's going to be powerful. I think it's going to be exciting. I think people are going to surprise themselves that this is something they can do. I know, Dawn, you did the sneak peek workout. I haven't been able to do that one yet. But it looked like you could do all the moves. It didn't look like, I've seen snippets of, like spider push-ups where all four body parts come off the ground. Yeah, pretty sure I'm not going to be able to do that, but it's all good. I'll figure it out. Tony used to do those in P90X, so you just kind of figure it out, and you can do the front first or the back first or be on your knees and just up your front. Like there's so many ways. You don't want to just say no to an entire program because a move or two scares you, right? And I think we're learning that with the MM100. Like I cannot do that split run jump. I can bolt all day long with her, but I cannot do that. I just can't get my legs. Like it's a coordination for me. It's like it's like tapping the head, and like I can't. Like one leg won't. I just can't get it right. I just can't right. But yeah, exactly. The first time you did it, you're like, no, but now you rock it. Like it's totally. Thank you, Ella. Ella can tap her head and rubber belly at the same time. So yeah, yeah. There's been numerous times in 9 years that I've looked at a program and gone, oh, or a move and gone, I'm sorry, what? You want me to do what? And then I do it and I'm like, oh, actually I can do that. So yeah. So I think it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be exciting. Like I said, I've been talking with Dawn because we're gonna do it at the same time. I don't have an exact date now that I'm sick. I'm like, oh, are you serious? Now now it's gonna be pushed back even further. But I'm thinking around that I should be able to make it happen for that first Monday in November. I'll just double up to make it work. But I think that'll work. But I am gonna purchase it on Monday, so I have it because it is a 7-month um, sneak VIP. So definitely going to do that. So yeah, so it's going to be fun. So tonight I wanted to kind of expand on a couple things. I wanted to expand on what Janelle Summers said. Actually, Ella, can you get me my notebook downstairs on where I sit in the living room? Just my regular notebook that I take notes in. I know there's probably a lot of notebooks. I know, it's a smaller one. Like it's not a big notebook, it's a smaller. But yeah, I wanted ask Daddy. I wanted to expand on something Janelle said in the National Wake Up Call on Monday, and then a little bit of how Sarah had us write those I am statements out for the Power Hour yesterday, because I think this is where things get really crazy with people, for us and for our clients, is belief, right? It's a word that we just hear all the time, but I want us to focus truly on belief. So yes, thank you. One of the examples, thank you. One of the examples I wanted to share is today's list of the Power Hour, right? So every week we do a Power Hour, and about 3 or 4 people complete the assignments, and maybe 6 or 7 do like the ones they want to, right? And so this is a big list for our power hour. This is everybody, 10, at least 10 people did 10 people did all 4 assignments, and then we had 3 or 4 others that were trying to get them all done, just didn't make it. But this proves the belief thing, right? And how we just maybe need a little bit of a push. I didn't fully watch. I'm sure it'll be talked about on the National Wake Up Call, and I think they did it on the Beachbody Champions page, but I didn't. Hi, cutie. I didn't fully watch what's happening in October. The Beat Your Best Success Club month is happening in October. And it's not your best month ever. It's your best like within the past 12 months. But then they're adding a volume component to it. So I didn't quite understand that. I watched it real quick. And so I just I don't have the details on that, so I'm not going to talk about it. But again, it's something that gives us that push in our mindset of, okay, just taking that belief to the next level by giving us something to shoot for, right? And so Janelle talked about belief being, a big piece in what we do. And it's so true because I'm just going to give you a couple examples. So like Kelly Penny had sent me a message today, and she said, how do I address this concern? And the person said, they've tried the 2 Shakeology samples that she sent them, and they taste metallic. They don't taste right. And I'm like, okay, it's still a health shake. It's not going to taste really like a Wendy's Frosty or an ice cream shake. We pretend that it's as close as we can get it, but it still has that health bite to it at the end, right? Like an aftertaste. I know Mark Stevia gives Mark a little aftertaste in his mouth or whatever, but we still drink it. Right? We still drink it because we know that it's super healthy for us, and we believe in the products, and we've done the research, and we've proven to ourselves that it's amazing for ourselves, right? So we have this strong belief in Shakeology. And I remember my mom, every time she came over the first 6 months that I was doing this, I made her a shake, and I tried all these different ways, and she's like, I just don't like it. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And she had a heart attack. So I was like, Mom, I really think this is going to make a huge difference in your health. If you can just get a 30-day bag for yourself and go home and try and play around with it, I really think you'll find your recipe. Like, I know it's a health shake. I know you're used to sweets and stuff, but please, for me, give it a try. And it was Christmas time, and she bought it for herself for Christmas and put it under the tree. Within 7 days, she found her perfect recipe. That was December of 2010. And here we are. She never misses a day, right? And so she believed in what I was telling her. She didn't maybe quite believe in herself yet, but she believed in me, and she believed in what I was telling her, because I wasn't trying to just sell her something. I was like, please, Mom, I think this is going to be huge for you. And sure enough, her next quarterly appointment, her doctor's like, what are you doing? Keep doing it. Your numbers are perfect. This is amazing. Of course, we can't make any medical claims. I've got to put that disclaimer out there. But that is a piece of my mom's story. And so I shared that with Kelly. I was like, okay, it's still a health shake. I shared everything. And then I said, by the way, my mom didn't like it. And then she was like, actually, I didn't like it when I first tried it either. And I'm like, okay, so there you go. So there's that feel, felt, found. Like, I know it's a health shake. I get it. It's not going to taste like your ice cream frap that you were looking for it to taste like, but here's how it can help you, right? Allow your taste buds to get used to it. We all don't eat broccoli and go, oh, right? We've got to get used to broccoli. Like, it's like, okay, let's talk about the broccoli, right? And so the hardest part about this business is us believing in what we have to offer. We believe in the products to a T, or we wouldn't still be here regardless, right? And so for us, we have to take that belief in the products and take that to our clients who are giving us objections. And when they give us objections, we just want to talk them through it. So Kelly just said, we talked about the health benefits. She's not sure, but we're going to talk about the ultimate portion fix. Great. She's going to get her in the door, right? So we have this belief, we keep going. We're not pushing them. We're not pressuring them. We're going, okay, I get it. And I'm sure, like Kelly said to me in the message, she saw the price tag and she was like, yeah, no, I don't like this. Right? And so that's what we do. We tell ourselves when we don't like it, or we give ourselves an excuse of why something's not going to work because we're afraid, right? And the same thing, so that's what we got to do for our clients, because we know when we believe. So, but that same thing transfers for us in this business. We believe, until we know that we can do something like this, until we have that belief that this business will work for us, we're gonna feel that stagnant time. We're gonna have that time in the business that things aren't going to grow if we can't get out of our own way, right? And I'm feeling that right now in my business. My income has been dipping for the last 2.5 years. Luckily, we are still doing amazing, things. We just got used to a really good amount, and now it's come down a bit. But I look at it and I'm like, okay, I haven't recruited a really good business coach in over 2 years. Like someone who's stuck around. Like that, I get them going and they're like, yes, I totally want to do this. And some of them hit success starters. And then I'm like, hey, where'd you go? Right? And chances are they stopped believing in themselves. It got harder. They had to find a colder market to make that warm, So I get that. So if we get stagnant in our business and stop recruiting new people, customers, challengers, anybody, then we start wavering in our belief, right? And we start going, I don't know, maybe this isn't for me. Maybe I can't do it. Maybe I'm too this. Maybe I'm not this. Maybe I'm not that, which leads us into Sarah's assignment, which took us to those I am statements, which were super powerful. So Janelle had shared at the end of her national wake up call that we have to find a way to instill belief in others, right? And so when you guys come to me and you're like, I'm struggling in this business, I will genuinely, because that's who I am, tell you why I think you're amazing at this business. And I will tell you about your strengths and what I admire in you and what I inspire in you. And so then you may leave that call or that conversation or that meeting that we just had and you're like, oh, shoot, okay, I can do this, right? And so that's part of our job as leaders, is to take it to that next level. So Sarah gave us that assignment, which was even helpful for me because I start questioning myself. Like one of the first things I wrote on that was, okay, damn it, I am great on Instagram, right? Because I can't keep saying I suck at Instagram or I'm going to keep sucking at Instagram, right? So I had to change my mindset of, wait a minute, you know what? I am great at Instagram. One of the first things I still write is I am worthy. And that is like, it's a negative self-limiting belief that stems from childhood. And I think I've shared this with you guys before, but it was like my mom always chose my stepdad over us. And he treated her so poorly that I questioned my self-worth as a child. And I didn't realize that until I was an adult. I didn't realize that that's where it came from until I went to therapy. And she was like, okay, you were thinking, because I went to therapy when I was very successful in this business. I went to therapy and I was like, I'm stuck. I'm not taking it to the next level because I don't feel like I'm good enough. I'm successful enough. I'm pretty enough. I use the right filters. I don't know how to use Instagram well. Right? Like all those self-limiting beliefs, like, oh, I could get a cheaper shake at Walmart. I could, like those same type things started coming in my head for this business, and I needed to nip it in the bud, and I had to go to therapy. We went back to a certain childhood memory where my stepdad actually the only time in his life he ever put his hands on my mother. He was very verbally abusive, but he never put his hands on her, but he did. And I had to choose between being a child and running out the door and going to play and kind of like being like, okay, I'm 8 or however, I'm 9 or 10, whatever. However, actually, I don't think she met him until I was 9, so I was maybe 10. I'm going to go be a 10-year-old, or I have to go upstairs and comfort my mother and make sure she's okay. And I had to make this decision at such an early age. And that one memory kept coming up in therapy where it all kind of, I guess, broke. It all kind of broke for me. And I forgive my mother. She's still with my stepdad. He's changed, he's grown up. I do forgive her. She did her best. Like, I get it. And I always think, okay, she had her own self-worth type issues. She thought that was the best she could do, right? Like, and so now through personal development and through therapy, I forgive her, but that's where my self-worth comes in. It's still, as a very successful entrepreneur and a mom and a wife and just having great friends and a great team, I still wonder, am I worthy enough for the next level, or to keep taking it to the next level, right? And so I think that's important to share with you guys, because you guys know I do try to be very real, very raw, very vulnerable, and tell you all of these types of things, because it is part of my story. But I do like to portray the strong piece of my story. I actually do think that day also made me who I am today in the strong department, right? It shaped me that, you know what, shoot, I can do anything. If I can deal with that at 10 years old, I can do anything. And so we have to look at things, and shift our mindset and know, one of the other things I wrote was like, I am in control of my sugar addiction. Like, like just things that you want to get better at. You want to turn those into an I am statement so that you can believe, like I even wrote, I am a great listener, because I feel like there have been so many times where I have had to help people my entire life, like my mom, my sister, Mark's sister. Like I've always been the one to try to save people, that finally as an adult, I was like, no, it's all going to be all about me now. And so I tend to talk too much about me. And so I have to like scale that back and go, you know what? I'm a great listener. I need to listen to what people are telling me. And I need to, we were given 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason, right? And so that I just kind of wanted to share that with you guys a little bit here tonight on a couple of my I am statements. I did write, I am a great dance mom, because I always joke, I'm like, I suck at being a dance mom. But then I'm like, okay, you know what? I am a great dance mom. It's okay that I have to hire out someone, Monica, to do my girl's hair. Like, thank God I have Monica to do the girl's hair. Like, just because I can't do her hair doesn't mean I'm not a great dance mom, right? But there are other ways I'm a great dance mom, right? I'm always there. I'm always driving them there. I have their bags packed. Like, there's many strengths in my dance mom thing. I just don't know how to do the hair and makeup. And so other than that, I'm great, right? And so, just changing it. I'm attracting good people was something else I said, because when I start questioning myself in this business, or my belief in this business, or my like, gosh, I haven't found anybody good in 2.5 years, I look at you guys and I go, okay, they're out there, because they're all around me every single day. So they're just hiding, but I'm gonna find them, right? And I look at all of my customers that are in the Team Passion Fit tribe, and they came into this business about 3 years ago. Tracy Jordy, Shannon Callaghan, Stacey Garrity starting to come back. A lot of them, Shannon Barber, a lot of them years ago. And I was like, okay, so I was able to attract them 3 years ago. So I can still attract them now, right? Like, and so it's helpful to look at what you've done and look at the success that you've had and reinstill that belief in you, and know that this is a roller coaster, right? I even think I said the other day, like, oh, I am on a wild entrepreneurial ride today because I had my new coach from last month cancel already. I was like, she was doing the trainings. I was like, yes, finally, I found a new business partner. And then I woke up to a cancellation. I'm like, oh. And then I had someone return a bag of Shakeology. And I'm like, oh, really? Like, and so just lots of things were happening that day. But I chose to just go, okay, you know what? And that's the day that I journaled a ton of stuff out. I was like, you know what? Here's what I'm looking for. I'm starting to evolve my story a little bit. I used to say I'm looking for all of these people who I was 9 years ago, because I know we get trained on that. But I'm starting to share my story of who I am now. Like maybe I need to be attracting the 40-year-old moms who want to do what I want to do now. Like years ago, I wanted to lose the baby weight and just kind of gain more energy. But now I'm like, okay, I see people with ailments suffer around us all the time. I cannot do that to myself, and I will not do that to myself, and I will not do that to my kids, and I need to keep up with this dance mom thing. Right? And so I'm thinking of all of those moms out there that are running themselves to soccer, to dance, gymnastics, and are looking for quick meal plan ideas, a quick workout they can do in the morning. Like I'm looking for maybe those moms now. Maybe I'm not looking for the lose the baby weight moms. I'm looking for the moms that are in the stage of life that I'm in right now, right? And so we've always got to make sure we're evolving and sharing different pieces of our story, because yes, we want to share where we were. It's always good to go back of when your journey started, but we also want to share where we're at now and attract the people that would be interested in what we have now and who we are now. So, any thoughts, questions, concerns? Does that help? Is belief something you've got to work on?
So, know if I don't know if I said anything about it in the team page or not on the PD thing, but what was funny is it all kind of came at the right time because Sarah's assignment, and I just randomly pulled up my podcast to listen when I was in the shower yesterday after my workout, and at the top of my podcast list is always Melanie, and her whole podcast was about believing in yourself and asking yourself those three questions. You know, who do I want to be? What does that person do every day? Like, what does it take to be that person? And what daily actions can I take right now to become that person? You know, that successful coach or that successful mom, you know, whatever it is that you are focused on. And that was combined with Sarah's assignment, where I came up with everything that has come up for me in the last 2 days. And it was funny because this morning as I was journaling, I journal every day after my workout. And as I was like writing in my book, I was like, oh man, this is like 2 pages full of stuff, you know? And it was just, I don't know, like for me, it came down to like one really hard question that I didn't put in my stories because I have a lot of family that follows me, and like my mom's family. And I didn't want it to be taken the wrong way, but like a really big question for me became like, if I step into being enough, if I step into being worthy, if I step into, you know, that I'm a good person and, you know, and I push aside all of those things that weren't like told to me, but like were inferred, then what does that mean about my relationship with them? Like it turns into this whole big, really big question. And I was just like, oh God, you know, this is why I keep stopping. This is why I get to a certain point in my business or in my growth with my family or things like that, where I'll just stop. Like I'll be really, really successful and I'll gain a lot of momentum, and then I'll stop really, really quick. Because if I take that next step, then I have to become that person that they said I can't be. Like it's a lot. It's a lot. It was a good lot, but it was a lot.
Yeah. totally. The, I love when people have those breakthroughs in personal development or those self-realizations, because one, it's like it's therapeutic, and therapy can suck really bad. I think that's why a lot of people avoid therapy, because they end up like crying and like feeling worse than when you left. Like Kelly can attest to that right now with her physical therapy. Like probably finally now she feels good, but that first physical therapy appointment, I'll never forget, with my knee. I'm like, oh my gosh, you're trying to torture me. Like, and now I feel worse than I ever felt even before I had surgery. Like, right? And so it's like that same thing. You've got to kind of get knocked down before you get better. You got to have that breakthrough, but it's going to really, like, I was like hyperventilating in the therapy's office when I had that memory come up. I was like, oh my God, like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. And then I just was so quiet for days after. And so I think that's huge. And the other part of belief, which you just brought up, Candace, is we instill belief in others. Like I can have those conversations with you guys and go, you know what, these are your strengths. This is what you're amazing at. Like I did with Kelly today. I'm like, gosh, she keeps getting freaking knocked down, but she won't get knocked down. She won't stay down. Like she's amazing. She inspires me. But until she sees that, she's like, thank you. Okay, somebody believes in me, and there's a little glimmer of hope. But until she's like, you know what, shoot, she's right, I do, it's not, I'm not saying she doesn't feel that, but you know what I mean? Like until you as that person truly believe what I see in you or what somebody else sees in you, it's not as powerful until that clicks for you. And that's why personal development is such a thing that has to happen every day, just like we shower, just like we brush our teeth, just like we do our work. We cannot skip it, because it's eventually, it may take 5 years, but eventually one of those breakthroughs are going to be like, oh my God, shoot, this is exactly what's been holding me back. This is exactly why I keep stopping in my business. This is wow. It took me maybe listening to the same podcast, hearing the same words, like I sometimes question myself on doing a team call on belief. I'm like, well, we just heard about belief this like twice this week, but we want to keep, instilling that in us, that belief is very important. That belief is the number one reason why people aren't successful in this business, and the number one reason why people do quit in this business, because they do not believe in themselves, and they do not believe this is something that they can do. I hear it all day long. Well, I don't want to sell anything. Well, I don't want to sell anything. Well, you are selling every single day, whether you realize it or not. You're sharing, talking about so many different things on social media, like just things with your kids or whatever, and you're selling that. Even when I share Sammy's journey to her point shoes, like, I'm selling a dream to a little girl that could be a ballerina, like it's right. Like you've got to think about all these things that we do on a daily basis, and know that this business really isn't any different. And we do have these amazing products and programs that can change people's lives. So yeah, no, that's huge, Candace. That's awesome. Sorry, I'm like, maybe I talk much. Anything else? Anybody else want to chat?
I would like to say that that Candice was mentioning now touched me very closely, because for the longest time I have been thinking that I was not good enough for this because of my age, because of my full-time job, that I don't have the same opportunities to talk to people or to be on social media as many other people. But these assignments today came right on time to push me a little bit harder, and I am absolutely committed to keep going. I am not going to give up. I am not going to give up, because I really want to help people to feel the way I feel right now. I am saying that from the bottom of my heart, because even now, knowing that I am much older than many of you right now here, I feel but I am 20 or 30 years younger. I feel incredible. Tomorrow is my birthday, and I remember that 7 years ago when I started my journey, losing weight and everything. Today is the day when I feel stronger than when I started.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to keep going until my strength help me. But my biggest goal is to help people around me feel the way I feel right now.
Yeah.
And thank you so much for this Zoom, because this gave me the strength I needed so badly today.
Yay. Yeah, and I'm sure, so one of the things that I love watching in your videos is I'm like, damn, I hope I can still move like that when I'm, 20 years older. I don't know your exact age, but, like that's like you are the people, you and Cindy and Maria Cook, like I'm like, okay, see, this is why at 43 I have to keep going so that I can still move like that when I'm in my 50s, when I'm in my 60s, when I'm in my 70s, when I'm in my 80s. And I'm sure, Christina, for you see a lot in your career, a lot of sickness and a lot of ailments, and I'm sure the majority of them could have been prevented, and that must be so frustrating, but at the same empowering that, you know what, I can make, even if I see 50 patients a week, even if I help one, like not necessarily those patients, but one other person who's had those same ailments, and it's just helping a small group is where it all starts, and knowing that what we have out there can help. And yeah, you have to keep sharing your story. And there are 20-year-olds that don't want to work out. I actually said to Mark today, so the the nurse asked me, do you smoke? Have you ever been a smoker? And I'm like, nope. And I'm like, the next question should be, do you work out? Like, that should be the next question. Like, she shouldn't just say, okay, let me take your blood pressure. Like, they ask, I remember going to my appointments with my nana and papa, and they were like, do you wear your seatbelts? Or they'll ask my girls, like, do you wear your seatbelts? And I'm like, okay, why isn't anybody asking if we work out? Like, what do you do for exercise? Like, that should be one of the questions that the doctors are asking us. Like, my doctor knows what Mark and I do, so he knows that. And I told him this morning, I'm like, one of the reasons why I'm here is because I couldn't work out this morning the way I wanted to, and I'm just mad, and I wanted to be fixed, and so, and I'm sure I'm, the minority of that, right? But that's okay, because we can make changes in ourselves to inspire other people. So we do have to remember how powerful that is. And on the days when we get knocked down or see people who are sick, and we've got to learn to have it lift us up. Yeah. Awesome. All right, ladies, if that is all, does anyone else want to share? All right. Well, thank you for joining me this evening. Sometimes I say, I used to have this attitude a couple years ago. Actually, let me stop recording and then I'll share with you guys.